All right, we're gonna wait until some everybody joins us. Can I pin this? Yes. Awesome. All right. Oh my God, I can't believe about 90 people are still with us. You are committed. Thank you so much, Joe. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with us for all day. And we are here because
The funky new album entitled
So, as you heard, um, Love Symbol is one of my favorite albums. And originally, I was only going to do one symposium this year. It was supposed to be the Triple Threat Symposium, which I'm still going to do in the fall, hopefully in person in Brooklyn for 1999. What time is it? And Vanity Six. But Kanisa and Erica Thompson said, what about Love Symbol? And I was like, I love Love Symbol. But to be honest, I was tired. I'm tired. I'm exhausted from doing these symposia annually, in addition to some other events, in addition to writing about Prince. And sometimes it can take over. My husband happens to be a massive Prince fan as well, but sometimes he's even, can you lay off the Prince?
It
So
helps when your spouse is a fan.
yes, it helps when your spouse is a
Because
fan.
I have ignored people all day.
Yes. Yes.
So much ignorance is happening right now.
Yes.
No idea.
So, in fact, this was originally supposed to be a 1 day symposium because it wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. But in thinking about the era and the richness of the era, not just the album, but also the comic books and the video collection and the tours and the TV specials, I was like, we're doing a disservice if we only do a 1 day symposium. So the 1 day symposium expanded to 2 days, and I hope that you enjoyed yourself today. In fact, I think this is one of the strongest days of any symposium that I've ever done. It was a stellar day.
It was. That's a bold statement. I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold statement, but I'm talking about collectively as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah. Because there was no keynote. There were no Prince personalities in that way. We just held it down
We just
end to
held.
end.
Yes, yes. So I can't wait for tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit different, only in that we only have one presentation panel. We're going to get started with that at noon. It's going to be the fashion style panel. It's one of my favorite panels. And I hope that you will join us tomorrow for that. And then after our one presentation panel, we're going to have two round tables. So today we had two presentation panels and one round table. And tomorrow we're going to have one presentation panel and two round tables. Now, the round table is going to be moderated by one of my favorite people on God's earth, C. Lee McInnes. He's going to be live with us tomorrow. And they're going to be talking about the video collection, the Three Chains of Gold video collection, a little bit more. And then the final roundtable tomorrow will be about the Act 1 and Act 2 tours. And another one of my favorite people, all the people who are participating are my favorite people, but I do have a special place in my heart for Nicolay, only because he's one of my favorite producers, but also he is a hardcore Prince nerd, like not a Prince nerd, but a Prince nerd. And so I always look forward to what he has to say. But there are also like my triplet, Camila, and Malay. There's just so many incredible people who are going to be with us tomorrow to continue our day 2. So, Arthur, what do you want to say about today and tomorrow? Anything you'd like to shout out?
It's not my favorite album, but that's irrelevant, right? But what is relevant is that because it's an album that I've struggled with over the years. I mean, me and this album have history. I wanted to I think I actually asked you when you mentioned that you were doing this. It's like, hey, you got room for me? Can I just sort of like be there and hang out? Because it gives me an opportunity to learn more about this album from individuals who are into this early 90s period, which was something that I didn't miss, but it was difficult for me to, you know, ride passenger side with him as he was going through this journey. And I think that we got that. I think we definitely got that today, and we covered it from a range with Seeley opening up, basically explaining the album, to explaining the concept to all of us, and then we got into the different themes of the album, and we got into the comic books, and we got into good Lord Edgar, we got into man got all the photos, so we got all kinds of stuff. He's got a photo of some random banner talking about on the seventh day that God created Prince, and he just had the wherewithal to be like, you know what, I might need that, like who does that?
Edgar.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So day one is I think you're right. I think everybody swang for the fence, and a lot of them hit it right on out of the park. Almost everybody hit it out of the park, and I'm saying almost just because I don't think I did, because I think it was just like I still have so much emotion tied up with my difficulties with this album. So I'm looking forward to day two.
Yeah. So, one thing I want to do real quick before I forget is I want to shout out JD Washington. I don't know if JD Washington is still with us, but on the leaderboard, he has 4,415 points on the leaderboard. That means he has been engaging with the platform up the wazoo. But we
Man,
also have to shout out as well.
did you have time to see a workshop, JD?
Yes.
Did you?
He's been working. Has really been interacting with the AirMeet platform. And then we have to also give a shout out to Kimberly Jinsma, who comes in at number 2. And then Angela Elliott. It's not a competition, but I just think it's really interesting and fun. Hopefully you guys understand that we only do this out of love. We're only here for fun. And so I just thought it was a really cool and new fun feature of AirMeet. So did you want to talk a little bit about some of the polls or?
Yeah. So the polls. We came up with some questions, and the feedback. Some of it was kind of surprising because I created some of these polls, and I thought, oh man, people aren't going to get this. And then it was just like, yeah, okay, no problem. Do you have anything more difficult, more challenging? But let me start with some of the favorites. So we broke up the track list of the album into a few parts. And so for the first segment of your favorite song from the album, there's actually almost a tie, but Sexy MF came out on top with 33.3% of the vote, and Love to the Nines is right on its heels at 30% of the vote. Another highlight is looking. Damn You scored really high with 56% of the vote. D'Angelo, your favorite, what, The Flow, I think led the losing side of it, just 2% of the vote. But the overwhelming winner, it would appear, wait a minute, I'm actually wrong. I almost said 7. 7 got 55% of the vote in group 3, which was 7. God Created Woman, 3 Chains of Gold, Sacrifice of Victor. Sorry, everybody, they're like broken up, so I'm trying to like catalog who's leading what here. But it looks like Damn You, 57.89% of the vote. Just that seems to be the top tier from that album.
Yeah,
But now,
because it has 22 votes, because you can also see how many people voted.
yeah, it got the most responses, I think.
Yeah, because 7 got 22 as well. So I guess maybe in that regard, they're tied right now, unless someone breaks it right now, because the poll isn't closed yet. It's still open. You can still vote.
Yeah. So moving on to the trivia. On which NPG album did the song "The Ride Divine" originally appear? The choices were Gold Nigger, MPLS, Exodus, and New Power Soul. The correct answer is MPLS. And most people thought that Gold Nigger was the album that song originally appeared on. The television special, who was the focus of the Ride Divine television special. And this tripped quite a few people up. But Troy Bear is the correct answer. And the majority answered her correctly. A strong second is Carmen Electra, who was uh, did have a feature, but it's Troy Bear is what the storyline kind of centers around. Um, this was the one that I actually thought that was going to be hard. Malcolm Jamal Warner uh, got on stage at an after show during the Act One tour, and Malcolm Jamal Warner played Theo on the Cosby Show, and he rapped on stage. And the question was, what city was this where did this after show happen? And the choices were Chicago, Atlanta, or San Francisco. Correct answer is Chicago, and most of the people that answered got Chicago right. Thought that was going to be the hardest one. Um, and let's see if anything else is interesting. That one was easy. Everybody got that. Oh, okay. So, would you like to see Diamonds and Pearls and the Symbol album as a deluxe edition, or have them separate? The overwhelming majority wants to see separate boxes for Diamonds and Pearls and the Symbol album. I'm one of those people.
I'm one of those people.
So let me transition. D'Angela, you have done this for 5 years. You have gotten up early. You have called people. You have
begged
privately as well as publicly begged people to put these events together. What is your favorite?
That's a really great question. And there are really great moments at all of them. Well, in terms of the presentations, obviously your Love Sexy after show presentation is top of the top in terms of the presentation. But also seeing Ingrid come out and narrate, Rain is Wet, Sugar is Sweet, because she hadn't done that in a long time. And I asked her, and I didn't know if she would do it. And she agreed. I just thought it was fantastic. And Kat, I mean,
yes. Yes, she is.
Yeah. So that was just, for those of you who are there, Kat walking out on the stage, like my mom was like, now, Kat is interesting, meaning like she's not boring. Like, you know, like sometimes my mom, she's like, some of these talks are boring. It's just because my mom is not really used to sort of the academic reading of the papers and all that kind of stuff. And my mom likes things to be exciting. And so she was like, now with Kat, you got it right. So Love Sexy was really special to me for numerous reasons. But my personal favorite is actually DM40 GB30. Because anybody who knows me knows I love me some Jill Jones. There's only one Jill Jones. And she was so generous. Of everyone I've ever invited, she was there the entire time. She was in the chat. She was, and she also did 2 different keynotes. But also Andre Simone also did 2 different keynotes. Like neither of them had to give their time in that way, So for me, I mentioned this earlier. My absolute favorite moment of all 5 symposia is watching Jill Jones watching Graffiti Bridge. That
was
my
interesting. That was interesting. Seeing her and Jerome watch the film together, her for the first time, Jerome reminiscing, but the stories that they were trading back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And how they were helping each other. Remember this, remember what was that person say? Oh, it was this. Oh, yeah. And doing that. And I loved watching Mike Dean and Big Sexy, who were moderating, just basically like watch them watch the movie, you know. So it was like they just needed warm bodies to go along with Jill and Jerome.
Yeah.
So
So, and that's in terms of the symposia. In terms of the non-symposia, but like the celebrations, my absolute favorite was the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe celebration with not just Eric Leeds, who is
mm,
my favorite Prince horn player, but also Atlanta Bliss.
hmm,
Was incredible with Dr. Fink,
yeah,
who has been incredibly generous and very kind to me. He was there for Love Sexy. He came in, he did the Sign of Times, super deluxe, double duty. He was on the Madhouse panel.
hmm,
He was also on the Sign of the Times panel. And he just, always answers my call. He was also at 1+1+1 is 3. I really enjoyed his conversation around the Controversy album because, as everybody knows, Controversy is my favorite album.
hmm,
And also Peggy McCreary. It's just like so many amazing people. Joe Blaney from, the
hmm,
engineer for Love Sexy. I really enjoyed his. I could go on and on. Chuck Swicky. I could just go on and on. All the Prince people have been incredibly generous with their time, and I really enjoyed just all of them. But in terms of the presentations, I really enjoyed Zach's shower poster presentation
yes, yes,
because he thought it was too boutique. But I was like, bring it on. Like, I want to hear that talk. I don't care if
hmm,
anybody else wants to hear that talk.
hmm, hmm,
I wanted to hear her talk about the controversy poster because I thought it was really powerful and obviously controversial in real time to have that poster included.
hmm, yeah,
Um, not having that context. But if you were in 1981 in real time, that
hmm.
poster was a big
It's a
deal.
big deal. Yeah,
It was a big deal. And because of the world that we live in now, people sort of, and everybody has everything out and blah, 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 blah. People who don't have that context and they see it now in context of 2021 or 2022, they don't understand the impact that that poster had. So I thought it was really great the way that Zach contextualized it. Another one of my favorite presentations um, in the top of the top is Scott Wood's
you don't know what you're gonna say.
presentation talking about like the clubs and all of Prince's films. I thought it was genius,
Mm-mm.
just genius. And the thing is, like, he had done it as a Twitter thread, and I begged him. I was like, Scott, please do that as a presentation. And he
Yeah.
did, and he brought it. I mean, he really, really did. But those are only a few. There's so many that I could talk about, but those are the ones that sort of come to mind. What about you?
Many of what you said, but let me preface by saying that a friend of mine, my when my co-host on the Music Snobs, Scoop Jackson, he always likes to talk about that how important it is to control the narrative in telling your story. And the main reason why I more than appreciate these symposiums and really feel special for you allowing me to be a part of them is because they're made by fans for fans, and I think that goes a long way with getting the kind of participation that you get. And I think that really goes a long way because even with the participation with Jerome or Jill or Andre, it's not it's not sort of like obligatory because it's a fee for it's service for a fee or something like that. They really come into a family environment. So the keynote with Jill Jones and Andre Simone, where you and I were present. A little backstory for those that are still joining us. I did not expect to be a part of that conversation. I was set up pretty much in the same spot where I am now, with popcorn, just ready to see. this conversation. And at the last minute, D'Angela pops in and says, "Hey, I'm really tired. Can you come with me and do this to give me some cover so I can kind of, I don't have to carry the whole thing?" And I said, "Sure, sure, 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 no problem. I'll see you in 5 minutes." And I was sweating because I I love Jill Jones too, but Andre Simone is like it for me from way, way, way back. And I've got all of his solo albums, and talking to talking to him, but talking to both of them at the same time, you know, was it was all I could do not to throw up.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. You have really come through for me, and I also have to give a mad shout out. She's not here to Fredara Hadley. You
Mm.
thought you had it bad, but for the Betty Davis Symposium, I'll tell you guys a little story. So the Betty Davis Symposium was 1 week before the Love Sexy Symposium. It was not planned that way. It was supposed to be a month after the Love Sexy Symposium. And the reason why it became 1 week is because the director, Phil Cox, he's based in London, and he was going to be in New York that particular week. And it just made sense in terms of costs for me to switch the the Betty Davis Symposium to the week before the Love Sexy. I didn't know what I was doing. What I mean by that, I thought I could handle it, and I was exhausted. And for Dara Hadley, she could see it, and she came up to me and she said, "What do you need?" And I was like, "Can you moderate?" And she moderated the entire symposium, as well as the Q&A of the director on the spot. And I will never forget that. So you guys be looking out for me, and I really do appreciate it because it is can be extremely exhausting. And actually putting on, I thought at the time, putting on an in-person conference was exhausting. It's actually doubly exhausting to put on a virtual symposium because of the tech issues.
Right.
And you don't know if people are really there, because at least in a physical space, is Arthur in the building? Like, is he here? Like, he's
Yeah.
either here or not here.
Yeah.
But
And
in a
we've
virtual space, you have to like pray,
yeah.
can show up and is committed, and everyone is committed. So I am eternally grateful for every single person who speaks at these symposia. Some of you are my near and dear friends. And then the other thing that I kind of want to talk about is that it gets complicated, especially when you do a 2-day symposia, because you cannot ask everybody that you want to ask. And there were some people I really wanted to ask, but there's only so many slots. So it gets really painful. So, sometimes people drop out. Usually 1 or 2 people do. That's almost always the case. And I'm able to sometimes get in some, other people that I wanted to have participate. But if, in terms of some of the recurring speakers, if I didn't ask you, it's not because I didn't want to. It's just that we only have a finite time. We all have families, we all have jobs, and there's only so much time that we can, dedicate sometimes. But, sometimes we can.
Now, we have a good amount of our family still in the chat. Please feel free, reach out. We would love to bring you on stage that you can wax poetic. I see some other former and current panelists here, such as Milea is still in the audience.
See,
Camilla Cummings is still in.
my near and dear friend Jason Orr, who I love dearly.
Oh, let me just say, Camilla's Sisters in the Temple presentation is one of my favorites that has gone on. and it's exemplary of the kinds of conversations that could only happen at a conference for fans by fans.
Yes.
So,
All right. So who's coming up? So when you come up on stage, what's going to happen is we're going to say hello, hello, and then Arthur and I are going to hide ourselves, and you're just going to talk. And the reason why we're going to hide ourselves is because I want to compile a 5-year anniversary video of speakers as well as audience members about either their favorite symposium, their favorite presentation, or their favorite moment through a symposium or special celebration. So Kanisa says I have to de-seat and put my bonnet on. So if you're not camera ready, we're going to do this again tomorrow night at the end. And then if you don't want to be live, you can just send me a recording. So at the top of the chat, I have pinned a link that goes to the symposium website for 5 years. And you can send me like a short video via WeTransfer or Google Drive. Just make sure the video is horizontal, landscape mode, not portrait mode, because I want to compile them like a movie. So horizontal, vertical. So anybody wants to come up and talk, I'll pull you up. You have to accept 1080p, please. Okay, Malay doesn't want us to do this way. Okay, I hear you, Malay. All right. Okay. So if we want to do 1080p, yeah, oh, for the videos people send. Yes, 1080p. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay, does anybody want to come up? Or everyone is denisified? Nobody wants to.
that's real too. I gotta respect that.
Yes. All right. No one wants to come up? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Claw. I really appreciate it. So again, just go to the link and just send me, and I can take it any time between now and the Triple Threat Symposium. But over the summer would be best because that's when I'm going to start compiling the video. So I think what we're going to do, since no one wants to come up, is I will head to the lounge for those of you who want to talk to me directly. And in the last session, I said we would get started at 10:30. I'm going to open it back up at 10 a.m. In the morning, just pre-symposium, coffee time, hang out in the lounge, hang out in Fluid Space. I'm curious, did anyone use Fluid Space today? Did you check it out? Were people in there, or was it dead on arrival? Was no one hanging out? Kanisa, was anybody in there when you popped in?
I'm sorry, I'm reading Denisified. That's about to be that's about to be on a shirt with a hashtag in front of it.
Yes.
I might make that and just send it to Kanisa.
Yeah. Most were in the lounge. Yes, Janet. I'm sure most were in the lounge. So in order for this to in order for you to interact, like people have to be in the space. So if there's no one in Fluid Space, you can't interact with anyone. If no one's sitting at a table, no one can interact with you. It takes two to make the thing go right. So I hope that some of you are taking advantage of the lounge. And Janet, okay, let's talk about the hashtags. So we haven't had a hashtag as good as pivotal panties. You remember?
Yeah, there was Judgy Angel though.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that was Judgy Angel.
Denisified though is up there without even trying. Cause I understand what that means. Like for real.
Yes. Oh my God. All right. Oh yes, Marilyn. I really wanted the Vogel stream of water. I really thought that was going to trend, but I was just trying to make that trend. I love the Vogel stream of water. I thought it was really fantastic.
The booty boom section.
Yeah, Miss TLC booty boom section. That is hilarious. Yeah, Denisified it is. We did need one for today. We got one. at the end, Denise-ified. All right. Okay. So I am going to we're going to end the day.
Wait, before you go, why we got everybody here?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot. So I was all kind of mysterious about, the music snobs and everything like that. Will you be willing to not be mysterious about what you have planned for Triple Threat?
So, well, to be honest, I mean, I just have the idea behind it. So I really want it to be in person at NYU, most likely in Brooklyn, if I can get the spaces, and if not Brooklyn, then Manhattan. And with the previous in-person symposia, I live streamed them, except
Mm,
the one at Spelman.
hmm
Long story. So, but I think what I'm going to try to do is for the people who can't come to New York is use a platform like AirMe. AirMe keeps getting better and better. It's not perfect, but none of these platforms are. So that there's a community in the hybrid space.
hmm
Um, so that's one thing. And then another thing is I know that some speakers that I would want to participate probably won't be able to swing coming to New York. So I might have some virtual presentations. So, and actually try to do like a hybrid
hmm
kind of thing, but I had to figure out how to do that best. But essentially, ideally I would love to have one day focus on 1999, one day focus on
Okay.
Vanity 6, and one day focus on what time is it. But because of the hybridity of it, I might have to group, maybe like the virtual presentations together.
hmm
Maybe
hmm
they all fall on Friday, so it would disrupt the cleanness that we had, like with 1+1+1 is 3, in terms of having,
Each day
contributions
devoted just
each
to a
day.
particular subject.
Yeah. So, and then also, COVID is still real, and
hmm
I want to do it in person. And I think I could bring in some people, Prince people. And I didn't bring any Prince people in for this one, but it's not because I didn't try. I asked about 8 or 9 different people. So I tried, and I think a lot of people are quote unquote zoomed out. Like they're just kind of tired of doing virtual events. But
hmm
at the same time, I'm happy with just us. Um, we've been very incredibly lucky in talking with a lot of Prince people, and I'm always grateful. But I also respect their time. I'm not a stalkery person, so I ask, and if I get crickets, then I don't push, and some people just flat out tell me no, which I appreciate and I respect. Um, so it's not that I didn't try. I did try, but I think we had a fantastic day. And hopefully one day some of them might hear about or look at some of the presentations and conversations that we've had, and understand that we really appreciate all that they did to contribute to Prince's work and vision. So, um, as far as there is something special I want to do that I've already spoken to someone about if we do it in person, a bit of a treat. And then there's somebody else I want to talk to make it really special, but it all really hinges on whether or not we could do it in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like a crapshoot at this point, with the variants and everything. Who knows what's going to happen in the fall? But, there's a lot of time between now and the fall, so
hmm
a lot of things could happen. But I'm extremely excited about the Triple Threat because the 1999 tour was my first tour,
hmm
my first Prince tour. So it has a very special place in my heart. I'm a massive fan of the time. Everyone should know that. I'm a massive fan of Vanity Six, and I love that record. And actually, earlier today, my triplet uh, did give shade to Apollonia Six's album, but it's actually one of my favorite Prince productions. In terms of Prince productions, the Apollonia Six album is probably in my top 10 of Prince side projects. Um, I also have a very special place in my heart for Susan. I love
Mhm.
all of Susan's quirky songs, and I'm hoping that there are some in the vault. And it would be really fantastic if the state would release. Not necessarily. I know it would be really great to have like more originals. Like originals has been my favorite thing post
Mm.
Prince, even
Mhm.
over the deluxe box sets. Like I love the originals release. And what I would want is having Vanity Six released, not a greatest hits, the Vanity Six album, which is out of print, with Prince's versions of all
Mhm.
the Vanity Six songs.
Hmm.
Time a time box set with all 4 time albums with all of Prince's versions as well. That is what I would want. So I just think that I controversy, Dirty Mind controversy. 1999 it was still sort of my favorite Prince. 1999 is not my favorite Prince, only because of Little Red Corvette, and I feel like he was veering pop. And that is when I was like, even as like I was like 11 years old, and I was like, "What is going on? He's going to the pop." I'm serious. I really had this conversation. Like, what is going on? I want my punk Prince. I want my new wave Prince, kind of thing. But I love the 1999 record because I actually got it on cassette originally, and I played it so much that the cassette broke. So I had
Mm.
to buy another cassette of 1999, and then that broke, and then I eventually just bought the vinyl because
Uh-huh.
I was just like, okay, enough of this. So it's not that I don't love 1999, but I kind of knew it was kind of the beginning of the end. I was like, "Oh, he's gonna veer off in the pop space, and he's never gonna come back and be weird, quirky Prince." But he did the roller coaster, which I absolutely love. He be pop Prince one time, then he did
Mhm.
Around the World in a Day. I was like, quirky experimental Prince,
Mhm.
yay! So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love Around the World in a Day
Mhm.
because like he did a totally 180-degree turn when he could have done like Purple Rain too, but he didn't. And I was like, that's my Prince, you know. So I don't know, I love the ride. It was exciting. It's still exciting. You know, like what are they going to release next? You know, what's
Mhm.
out of the vault? So he always gave me something to look forward to, and he still does. And he will probably until I go in the ground, which is a wonderful thing. So I don't know. Prince just makes life so much more fun. All
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'll take it.
Hmm.
I'll take it. And I'll be seeing you 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. Yes, yes. Because Arthur's out in the AZ. I call it the AZ out in Arizona. So he's really committed to this. So we're gonna log off, but I will go to the lounge if anyone wants to say hello. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that some of you will come back tomorrow for our fashion style panel and our 2 roundtables for 3 Chains of Gold video collection, as well as Act 1, Act 2 tours. So thank you so much, Jackie. See you tomorrow. Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. It was a beautiful day, night. Thank you for that, Angela. Awesome.